All right, thank you very much from the commercial city of Kano. We are now at the INEC Collection Center, where the governorship election results are being collected from the 44 local government areas of Kano State. We have 44 local government areas in Kano State, and so far, INEC in Kano has officially announced the results of 25 local government, which means we still have about another over 20 local governments to go. So, and I've been speaking with some of the INEC officials on the situation so far. And what they are telling me so far, so good. Everything is moving on smoothly, and the results will be announced as soon as they finish collecting it from all the collection officer. And I'm now being joined by Fatima Joshua, one of the foreign observer from Cambodia Pan-African Youth Training and Enlightenment Center, who will also be telling us, talking to us regarding what she observed on this election so far. Madam, thank you very much for joining us on Channels Television. You can look at the camera,
yeah,
please. Can you tell us, so far so good, how can you describe what's going on at the collation center, from the voting to the collation now that is going on?
Actually, it has been great in Kano State. From the beginning of the election, which took place yesterday, the turn-up was so much massive. A lot of people, both the old age, I was so surprised I see a woman of 82 coming out to vote. The youth and the women came out, and the old to vote that yesterday. We have a massive crowd of people in many polling units. And another important thing is that Kano State is peaceful. From yesterday, we did not have much accident. Some polling units we have over, and some polling units is just a minor reaction of the people.
Now that the collection is going on at the INEC Collection Center, what have you observed? Have you observed anything irregularities, or is there any problem so far?
No, actually, there is none. We are now on the 26th, which is just ended now, and every result being announced, there is no reaction from the people.
That's Idris Jibrin, our correspondent, Channels TV correspondent, reporting from Kano State much earlier yesterday, we must say. And the latest report from there is that all the results from the local governments have come in. Less one, which is Nasarawa local government area, and reports from that place has not yet been announced. A break has been taken, and that the resident electoral commissioner said they're going to make that announcement much later. So we're waiting for the results of Nasarawa local government area of Kano State to come in, and then the resident electoral commissioner is going to announce the final result from Kano State. We'll be staying with our correspondent Idris Jibrin, and he will be able to let us know when our queue is to get the report from Kano State. So that's the much we have for you from Kano State. But we must also let you know that results of the Lagos State gubernatorial election has come in. Babajide Sanwo-Olu of the All Progressives Congress APC has emerged the winner of the governorship election there. In Kwara State, Abdul Rahman Abdul Razak will be the governor for the next 4 years, and he is the candidate of the APC. In Abia State, the incumbent Okezie Ikpeazu still holds sway of the PDP, holds sway for the next 4 years. In Oyo State, a new man is going to be at the helms of affairs for another 4 years, Mr. Seyi Makinde of the People's Democratic Party. In the southeastern state of Enugu, Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi of the People's Democratic Party is going to retain his job for another 4 years, and he is of the People's Democratic Party. In Gombe State, Mr. Anuwa Yahaya of the All Progressives Congress, APC, is going to be at the government house for the next 4 years. In Akwa Ibom State, incumbent Governor Udom Emmanuel of the People's Democratic Party retains the ticket there. In the southwestern part, state of Ogun, Mr. Dapo Abiodun of the All Progressives Congress, APC, has emerged winner of the governorship election in that state. In Katsina, Governor Aminu Bello Masari of the All Progressives Congress, APC, won the election, and so he retains the #1 position in that state for another 4 years. In Nasarawa State, Abdullahi Sule of the All Progressives Congress, APC, has emerged winner of the governorship election. And in Niger State, Abubakar Bello of the All Progressives as well has emerged winner. Channels TV has its tabs on all the states. 29 states altogether participated in the governorship election that took place in Nigeria on the 9th of March. That was Saturday, 9th of March 2019. But we are back here in the studio, and still my colleague and I, Charles Erika, we're still here and being joined by our special guest, Mr. Abiodun Aji Jola, an election data analyst and observer. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much. And our guest has been with us for days now, and I must say for weeks and for years.
I wonder if we should still call him our guest. I don't think that's the appropriate title.
Yes, at least for the sake of being politically correct.
That's right.
Yeah, if that makes sense. He's a legal practitioner. Thank you very much for being part of this program, Libros Oshoma. So we've seen results from some of these states. It appears a neck-to-neck race, APC and PDP, the major political parties in the country.
Yeah.
If it goes like this, I mean, it's just safe to say that if it goes like this, when we have a balance of power in terms of political, when we have a spread, an even spread, what does it portend for the country?
You know, yesterday we talked about, or the day before yesterday, we talked about, you know, some states where the governors would, where the opposition party would need to work harder than they did in 2015. And then we had seen, you know, some in the southwest here where, you know, the opposition party, you know, actually worked harder than the government in power or your state. It also, the picture is also painted is that unlike the perception of people, our votes are actually counting. Because even though we agree that they are not counting as much as we want them to, but we actually see them counting, because if those votes were not counting, places like Oyo State wouldn't have gone the way it went. And then, you know, and with the presidential election also, some, you know, former senators, you know, wouldn't have, you know, lost their seat. Places like Kwara State also, if votes were not counting, you know, would have seen the kind of results we've seen from there. So what that actually means for us is that, like they say, the beauty of democracy is opposition, really. And I would want to see, you know, going into the next phase, you know, of our democratic experiment, who wants to see not just banters, but we want to truly see, you know, purposeful opposition, purposeful criticism, a reminder of the campaign promises that were made. And then the people also taking up the responsibility of understanding that, you know, it is the people against leadership, and that they are largely the ones in opposition. You know, because if we take also a census of most of these political actors from 1999 to date, you find out that some of them who are either in opposition party or ruling party today, you know, they are probably, you know, this is not their first political party. They probably had crisscrossed from one ruling party to another ruling party. And so that's why the people need to also understand that, yes, actually, you know, if they, like they say, raise your voice and the people listen. And so if they actually raise their voice, government will listen. If they actually insist that the vote should count, if Nigeria will become what we want it to become, if we'll insist that the proper things should be done. And that's why you find out that government, in the run-up to the election, government all of a sudden became, you know, most at the state, even at the federal level, you know, became a listening government. You hear state governors who are not paid salaries and allowances setting aside a sum to settle pension arrears, you know, recalling sacked workers, which actually shows that, you know, there is something about democracy that we need to tap into. And like I said, if we really not just look at, you know, those states where you have governments of, you have opposition government, let's like you have APC at the center, and then some of these states where you have PDP. We shouldn't just leave, you know, the opposition to the PDP to play. We should also, at interval, learn to remind both the PDP and the APC of their campaign promises. The PDP at the state level, and then the APC at the federal level and at the state level also, where they have governors in place. Once we do that, before we get to the next round of the next election, we would have achieved more collectively.
Yeah, Mr. Ajijola, one of the reasons that young people have given for not participating in the elections is because they believe, or they thought, probably erroneously or otherwise, that their votes wouldn't count. We had 20 million of them all over the country register to vote, even though not as much eventually got their PVCs. Given the results that we have seen so far, and being an observer, would you say that the votes have counted so far?
Okay, so the way I see it is this. We don't have a perfect electoral system. I don't think there's any system that's perfect. But I think we have a much more imperfect system than what global standards expect for an electoral system. So it is expected that for every vote that is cast, these votes are accumulated as they are casted, counted, and, you know, results given. So when you have a case that results are not exactly how they are cast, counted, and returned, of course, this would lead to certain levels of saying that, yes, apathy, or they're not counting. But this is where I also look at the Nigerian context a bit differently, in the sense that the global standards is a system that we can use in a perfect system. So what some of us have to also look at, or believe we should look at, is what is the level of compliance? So that has to come in. That is to say, all the votes may not have counted, but was the overall will of the people subverted? So, for example, 2015, the average person will tell you that it was free, fair, and credible. But if you look at the process of elections, there were many reasons why it wasn't very free and wasn't so, there were things that weren't so credible about it. But what most people will say is that they believe that the outcome was representative of what most people voted. So there's that point where people know that this is who we think is likely to win. And when that person wins, people believe that it's credible to a large extent.
Yeah.
But, but as an observer, if you break it down, you could see...
So the process.
You see flaws, right? Which would make you to realize that there were challenges. So to the extent that the will of the people